The year is 1872 and we're in London. I have entered into the service of a new gentleman. It would seem he is a gambling man. Inkle presents, in association with Cape Guy, directed by John Ingold and Joseph Humphrey. Script by Meg Janth, and I think from what I know of this game, the script is absolutely incredible. Although the music is very loud, so I need to change that in post. Come on, give me the title screen. There we go, 80 Days. Welcome to this wonderful, wonderful game. Based on the very popular novel Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, as it says there on screen. The essential essence of the entire game is to get around the world in, would you believe it, 80 days. So it's kind of based in a steampunk setting, and I'm so looking forward to this. London, my hometown. Let us begin. Monsieur Phileas Fogg returned home early from the Reform Club, clearly something that never happens, and a newfangled steam carriage besides. I helped him down, and the iron-lunged, steam-driven horse clattered away. "Passepartout," said he, "we are going round the world." "Around the world, monsieur?" "We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed this wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25 in an hour. This was a shocking turnabout for my master, who was, by all accounts, a creature of inflexible habit and mechanical regularity. Perhaps the carriage's engine fumes had affected his reason. "For Paris, monsieur?" "To begin with, yes. Pack an altimeter, I don't know if that's how you say it, and my evening jacket. There is not a moment to waste. You, Passepartout, now have funds." So this is the interesting thing. Of course, Mr. Phileas Fogg here, or Monsieur Phileas Fogg, is very much a creature of habit. So for him to do this thing and attempt to travel across the world is quite incredible. So we need to pack. What can we pack? We're definitely going to go with the Englishman's wardrobe. That's very useful. I'm tempted to bring along the European ship's timetable, but we're definitely going to bring this wax cylinders. That's valuable in Paris. We could bring... I think we've got enough of the Englishman's wardrobe set. That should be fine. We'll bring along the European shipping timetable, and actually, tell you what, we'll bring along the evening jacket for a full-on Englishman wardrobe set. So we've got a way up to Amsterdam. We've got a route from Nice to Rome, from Venice to Dubrovnik. Thank you, Mr. Phileas Fogg. And from Stockholm to both St. Petersburg and to Warsaw and to Helsinki. Wonderful. But right now, we must depart for Paris, if I can work out how to do that. Okay, so we're going to embark. We're going to embark to Paris, and we're going to start our journey to go around the world in 80 days. Such a pretty game, and such pretty artwork with the steamwork. Steamworks, what am I saying? The steampunk, that's the one. So, the mechanical horses race past Piccadilly Circus and Pall Mall faster than a team of thoroughbreds. Even so, the whistle of the 8:25 was blowing as we pulled up to Charing Cross Station. "We have no tickets," I exclaimed. "That does not signify," Monsieur Fogg remarked over his shoulder, as he hurried towards the platform. "We must not miss this train." I rushed after him, and we both leapt aboard. I rushed after him, and we leapt aboard just as another train whistle pierced the air. A guard raised his thick brows at us, so we settled into a nearby compartment. He held out a hand. "Tickets, please." "Alas, monsieur, we are in a great hurry." That's my French accent. I really hope it's not awful. "You may purchase them from me, though it is more expensive, I'm afraid. £85, please." I'm not going to argue with the stern guard. I'm just going to give him the money, and we're going to head on our way. So what can we do? We can converse with our monsieur, our leader, as it were. So, he's made a hefty wager and he doesn't intend to lose it. But the journey will be most expensive, monsieur, indeed. But we can earn a little from buying and selling our possessions as we travel. Very good, monsieur. So, as we travel, what way are we going to want to go? We've got a few routes set up already. I'm tempted to go via Venice to Athens to Izmir, because we've got some routes there already, and that would be very useful. London's smog gave way to rolling hills and the pastures of the Kentish countryside. Very lovely. Still untouched by the hand of technological advancement. Monsieur Fogg read his paper while I repacked our bags, thrown together in haste and confusion. As afternoon turned inexorably to evening, I discovered that my master was one of those gentlemen who broke their silence rarely, if at all. A guard rapped on our door a few miles before Dover. We were about to submerge, he warned. Takes some people a bit funny, so watch out. We're going to go we're not going to question him. Very good, I replied, as though submerging inside a 1,000-ton metal train was quite ordinary for me. If you feel claustrophobic, try running up and down the corridor. I find that exercise always helps. With that, he closed the door. Would our master be so claustrophobic? I doubted it. He appeared not to be constrained by mere matters of place and circumstance. We have become courageous. You've seen quite a handy man to have around, Pastor Two. Thank you, sir. It's very kind of you. The Amafriti ploughed through the water overnight and splashed onto wider gauge French tracks at Calais as dawn broke. Do you have a route in mind, monsieur? I asked as the waters of the channel dried from my compartment windows. I am yet undecided. The new canal has sped up the shipping route from Suez to Bombay, though perhaps we could take the Trans-Siberian Railway across Russia. Now, I feel that we could go through the Suez down here in this part of the world, or alternatively we could go along the Trans-Siberian Railway across most of Russia and end up sort of up here, I think around Vladivostok. Is that how I say it? Vladivostok, there we go. And then we'd have to cross over to America, but I feel like it wouldn't be as exciting a journey as if we went down here. So, we're going to say surely not Siberia. It is so cold and grim, and I have a particular fear of bears. Then we would do well to buy furs, he replied, refraining from rolling his eyes. There are other alternatives. We may also travel overland and across the Black and Caspian Seas. Which is fastest, monsieur? I believe, said he, that is what we shall put to the test. Parbleu, I scarcely know what to think. We arrived at Paris Gare du Nord just after 1 o'clock. Paris, city of my heart, I was home, but not to stay. Okay, so we're learning about the route from the Suez Canal down to Jeddah, and heading on all the way down to Aden. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing some of these names. Alternatively, the Trans-Siberian Railway from Moscow to that Russian town, to this Russian town, to Omsk, I can say that one, to Irkutsk, and heading up in Vladivostok. Now, which way do we want to go? Yes, that's fine. So, we've made it into Paris. Wonderful. We are going to go to the market very quickly and sell our wax cylinder. We could pick up... Are we going to go past Copenhagen? Also Budapest, very possibly. And that's worth a lot in Berlin, so we're definitely going to get that. And we'll get the valeting set. And we may as well get this as well. Fill out our space. That's wonderful. And we're going to explore. We could go to the bank, but that's not really worth it normally, as it takes a lot of time for your money to be produced by the banks. We had a few hours to spare. I asked Monsieur Fogg if I might enjoy my city before we had to leave. Indeed, and should you learn anything of note, be sure to relay it. I nodded and headed into town. The talk on the streets was of only one thing, an enormous, elegant oval stadium, constructed upon the green fields of Champ de Mars, and containing the technological marvels, art, amusement parks, and many crowds of the World Fairs of 1872. I ventured inside. The grand illuminated pavilions of the exposition. An artificer was replacing an arc light, or I went west towards the airship hangar. We're going to go west towards the airship hangar. That could give us a quick ride. I went west past the airship hangar, past the booth with a husband and wife selling panoramic hot air balloons to rides to eager tourists. We're gonna keep going, 'cause I reckon tourist rates will be very expensive. The hangar was crowded with airships and flying vehicles of all shapes and sizes, attended by sharp-eyed crews from all over the world. My eyes were immediately caught by... I think we're going to go for the gilded airship, because that sounds quite fun. Painted all over with stylised poppies and feathers. It resembled nothing more than a mast, a flying sarcophagus. Do people really fly in such things? I asked an exhibitor. Indeed, hundreds of them they do, and every day, he replied with a booming laugh. Ha ha ha! They say the skies of Arabia are crisscrossed with the trails of the Egyptian ships. Perhaps one day Monsieur Fogg and I would find ourselves flying in such a craft. I returned to the exposition centre, my thoughts turning with clouds and engine rotors. Avenues sprawled in every direction between the inviting illuminated pavilions of the exposition. We are going to keep going. We're going to speak to this man replacing an arc light which had burned out. She disconnected the strange machine powering the lights. It had a spinning iron wheel which was wound around a series of armature coils. What is that device? I asked politely, my eyes straying to the copper lily pin which proclaimed her profession. It's a bleeding nuisance, what it is, the artificer grumbled in a thick Yorkshire accent. These ground machines are finicky beasts. Is that so? Oh yes, and the bleeding candles only last 2 hours. I cannot keep up this accent any longer. I'm so sorry for every Yorkshire person I've just completely turned off my videos. Not like I've anything better to do, eh? The harshness of her tone was belied by her gentle touch. As she unscrewed the arc light's bulbs of enamel glass and replaced the 2 carbon rods within, she reconnected the supply, and the 10 candles connected in series lit up once more. These are miraculous. Their hard work is what they are. Miracles indeed. But her mouth softened into a small, proud smile. She looked at her pocket watch, cursed and hurried off, dropping something as she went. I hurried after her to return it. This could help us. My medallion, I'll need that to get to my lunch from the canteen. Thank you. I bowed in return. She giggled. Stop that, you'll make me blush. She rubbed the coin thoughtfully. I was given this for my work in Istanbul, you know. I made a very special automaton. I think it works as a driver now, on the route up from Izmir. I think that's right. She smiled. We go all over the world, you know, she declared. How about that? Okay. We are going to take our leave and return to our monsieur. We've been going along. We've left our monsieur for long enough, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef à l'anglaise. Did you enjoy the exposition? My master inquired differently. I nodded. Nothing else could possibly impress me now. Will we travel by airship, do you suppose? I think it's highly likely, he replied. They are expensive, but extremely fast. Okay, so we've got a very... Okay, that was not as good as I perhaps would have hoped. Now, we need to just go. Let's plan. Okay, where can we go to? We can go to Nice, that arrives on Saturday. or we go to Munich. But we've got something which sells well in Berlin, so let's... Okay, we'll have to stay the night here in Paris, but we'll head to Amsterdam tomorrow. Wonderful. So let's head over to Paris, and we'll stay in the hotel. We'll pass the night, and first thing in the morning, we will leave. Okay. We cannot travel where it is not possible. Still, the surrounds of the Hotel Ritz was most enjoyable. We are departing to Amsterdam straight away. Oh, let's just hire a second car. We just need to go. We need to get going to Paris here, or get going to Amsterdam. So we do not have time to waste. We're in a hurry. We've got to get to. We have to get around the world in 80 days. We found a member of the Coachmakers Guild to carry us to Amsterdam. She loaded the cases onto the back, stowed the boiler, and took off at high speed along the coastal road, swerving around each corner with considerable skill, and I think a touch of recklessness. I clung on tight. This would be a terrific ride, I'm sure it will. Let us converse with this lady, see if we can find out a way to get to Amsterdam. Let's ask about Amsterdam. Can we get from Amsterdam to Berlin? You don't know. Wonderful. We could get from... What about Amsterdam to Prague? Okay, you are not all too fond of us speaking to you, and you haven't given us anything useful. Once or twice, the metal-rimmed wheels lifted the chassis clear from the road on one side, only to bump down after a chuff and a puff more on the engine. We were jolted around like so much poultry. We must have topped 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour. A fabulous way to travel. The Polish inventor Bozak, who had first attached a perfectly decent locomotive engine onto a flimsy wooden crate, was clearly a genius. Such cars were growing in popularity, starting from their use in farmsteads and extending up the way through the classes. It was said that the King of Sweden drove one, though presumably only to show solidarity with the potato farmers. As we rattled along, I spoke to our driver about what lay ahead and learned that some buyers will pay well for geometric equipment from Prague. And here we go, we made it into Amsterdam about time for 1 o'clock. Indeed, some of our possessions would sell well here. I'm trying to remember which ones they are. The geometry set, wonderful, we'll sell that. We can get European carriages list, we'll definitely pick that up, and a Lost Rembrandt. I don't think we'll be going past Munich for the most... That's worth 7,200, okay. Absolutely worth it. We can get rid of the European... We can get rid of the European shipping list, we have that now. So let's sell the European shipping list, bring in the European... We'll bring in the Lost Rembrandt, and we'll head back. We need to... Oh, wonderful, we can get to Berlin. Can we get to Berlin today? We've got plenty of routes. This is very useful. This is just going to allow us to... We won't have to explore, we can just get going, and that's a really important step, I think. So we've learned lots of routes from not just in Europe. We're learning in Africa, we're learning about Europe, we're learning about Thessaloniki. Can we plan? Can we just get going to Berlin today? It departs in 2 days. Ah, no. £620 tomorrow, okay? That's fine. Amsterdam. We have time to explore. We've discovered some new routes. Though the people of Amsterdam move about in its canal sides with a sense of optimism and good cheer, I felt no pressing need to linger. One look at... No, we're just here to... We're here to get through. This is a stopping point, of course. Amsterdam was a great centre of trade and culture, but now it strikes me as a provincial sort of place. There was, of course, the route following the canals south. In particular, the route that heads towards the Rhine, though I feared that to end up in Munich after nearly a week of travel would hardly please my hard driving master. So many choices indeed. So we will pass the night here, and then we're going to get going. We are going to engage a guest in conversation so that we can find the most efficient way to go from Prague via Berlin. A most interesting snippet. And we need to depart before 8 a.m. It's going to arrive tomorrow, which isn't perfect, but at least it shouldn't be too cumbersome, which is nice. So off we go. Off we go indeed. Our next leg was another short trip in the car. I bounded in, eager to get started. We had hired the same driver as before. "You two," she exclaimed. "Get in." Let us converse. Hang on, I need to remember. The Lost Rembrandt, that sells one in Munich, which we can get to from Berlin. Wonderful. So let's speak to our master. Okay, so we've shaved him and he's gained some more health or some more energy levels, which is lovely. As we departed Amsterdam for Berlin, I begged Monsieur Fogg to allow me a turn at the wheel. He looked to our driver, who smiled and happily moved to one side. The wheel beneath my hands was nothing like I've ever experienced before. Almost an electrical sensation. We're having great fun, as the thunderstorm was rippled through the wood itself. I drove by sheer instinct, without thought of the mechanisms involved. That presumably is how we came a cropper. I confess, I drove it like a loon. Had I done differently, my Gallic blood would have boiled. As it was ever so lightly spilled. Far worse was the expression on my master's face. Our relationship with Fogg has deteriorated. Okay, so we lost some time there, which isn't going to be perfect, and we're going to get into Berlin pretty late. We made good progress in the car, but not enough to recover our lost times. Toot, my friends, toot. So, why are you going to Berlin anyway? We are going round the world. By car? By car, by train, by airship, whatever we can find. She nodded. You should go south into Africa. The Zulus near Ulundi run long-distance airships across the world. Interesting. So if we head down to Africa, we could find an interesting way forward. That has been a lot of time to get to Berlin. But I'm hoping to gain a lot of money and profit here in Europe so we can spend a lot of money later down the line getting around the world. We have arrived in Berlin. And in we come. Let's go to the market. Indeed, we can sell the Chateau wine here. And we can pick up... I don't think any of those we'll particularly need, but we'll pick up the railway whistle for now. We can always get rid of it later. We have indeed been an excellent trade. Where can we depart to? Munich. Go. Embark, embark, embark. Go. Oh, we just missed the train to... Or just missed the car to Munich. That's so unfortunate. Departs tomorrow before 6. Okay, well we need to go to Munich because it's such an important place to get us a lot of money. So we could go tomorrow. Yeah, that's going to have to be the way forward. So let's go to a hotel. We'll pass the night here, and then we'll head down. We stay for the night in the Hotel Adlon on Unter den Linden, the main boulevard in the central Mint district. From the window, the Brandenburg Gate was lit up by upturned gas lamps. I decided to retire early, as the journey had been so far been exhausting and wearing to the spirits. Indeed, we must make haste. Let us negotiate a departure. £500, let's get going. We need to get to Munich ASAP to sell the Lost Rembrandt, and then we're going to head on our way. It's not an overly fast way forward, but we need to go that way. We crossed from Berlin to Munich in a patched-up steam carriage. The smoke pumped out of the back through a tall iron chimney, leaving a soot-smudged wake which trailed behind us like a flag. Our driver Christoph could not stop talking of his father, who was an engine driver and just been promoted. The Kaiser has merged all the state railways into the Reich Railway. We have the most efficient system in all of Europe. What of the Orient Express? I asked. He grinned. The parts near Germany work well. The rest of the line will no doubt be excellent once it is finished. We're going to improve relations with Fogg, as we annoyed him a bit last time we moved forward. One man called out, "You are English?" "Indeed we are. "Pip pip," he called back in a crude imitation of Monsieur Fogg's accent, and he and his fellows fell about laughing as we left them behind. I shook my head with distaste, and Monsieur Fogg nodded, very slightly, as he should. He's a distinguished English gentleman, and should not be tolerated. Let's head to the market very quickly. We need to sell the lost Rembrandt. Let's get this European train. No, we've already got that. Let's just get going. Is there anywhere we can plan? Can we depart to go anywhere? Let's get to Vienna. Yes, let's go. I think we just need to make as much progress as possible. We've made a good amount of money, but we're running quite far behind now. For inexplicable reasons, there was no way to board the Orient Express at Munich. Something strange to do with the custom laws, though. I understand it was actually retribution for unpaid fees. It seemed the Express charged countries for the privilege of being connected, rather than the other way around. We ended up cramming ourselves into a steam-powered car instead, and chuffing along. Okay. Let us converse with our driver and see what we can find out about Vienna. Maybe we could try get to... we don't want to go to Venice. Could we go to Budapest, maybe? Yes, Budapest to Venice. Is there a route? What about Budapest to Dubrovnik? Okay, he's not all too fond of us happening there. We learnt about Toronto to Quebec. That's an interesting route. Okay, didn't know why we had that one. But I think actually we will head up to Warsaw, as it seems we're heading more up for the Siberian, the cross-continental Siberian Railway. That's not the right word or the right name, but that's the way forward we're going to go. It was a pleasant enough ride, and our driver, one Michael Hertz, regaled us with stories of his time on the Indian subcontinent. It seemed to be employed to haul cargo along the Grand Trunk Road connecting Kabul and Agra. Before Agra wandered away, he finished cryptically. I demanded to know what he meant, but he merely grinned and mysteriously said, "Ah, the tales I could tell." As he arrived, the driver put out his hand to shake. "I'll be driving on to Budapest soon, if you want." So we learned about the route from Kabul down to Lahore, to Delhi, to Agra. But I think we're going to go up to Warsaw in Poland. Yeah, so you're pretty tired. So we need to stay the night at a hotel. And then pretty soon tomorrow, we'll be heading out. We found a room in the hotel, in the newly opened Hotel Imperial, in a suite built for Duke Philip of Württemberg's maidservant. The setting was comfortable, so I retired early. The better to continue our journey as soon as we could. Absolutely, let's depart. Can we depart up to Warsaw? That's a long way away. For some reason we cannot depart to Warsaw. We don't have a route. Okay, we're going to Budapest. we just need to get going. This is going to be another bothersome experience, but I'm afraid Monsieur Fogg is just going to have to cope with it. I would like to find a way up to Minsk, perhaps. That would be useful. We hired our friend Mikhail from the journey onward from Vienna to Budapest. The road followed the rail tracks for much of the way, but we saw no trains as we chuffed along. We head to Budapest. We arrived in the evening without incident. It's 10 a.m. It's not exactly the evening by the time we get into Budapest. We need to explore, because we need to find a way to Minsk. Please tell me there's a way up to Minsk. I took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options for how we might continue our journey. Could we plan? I kind of wanted to go up. I wanted to go up to Warsaw, but clearly that's not going to happen. So let us go down to Belgrade, I suppose, or go down to Thessaloniki. Departs tomorrow at 8 a.m. Wonderful. But I tell you what, I think that will do it for this episode of 80 Days. Thank you so much for watching, and expect this series every Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.